You guys remember how I always talk about how the verification and age verification and internet anonymity seems to be a coordinated approach to all these countries working together and all these companies trying to work hand in hand with all these verification organizations? Well, we might have found one of the culprits coming forward today as to why it seems so coordinated. The FTC. I quote tweeted saying, coordinated, to them saying, FTC issues COPPA policy statement to incentivize the use of age verification technologies to protect children online. Policy statement announces enforcement approach regarding the collection, use, and disclosure of personal data to determine the age of a user. And I said, hold the phone. So your solution to protecting kids online is building more ID and biometric collection systems? Once you normalize mass age verification infrastructure, it doesn't shrink, it expands. You know this. This is the proverbial slippery slope that we always talk about, which is why people are so against anything ever going down this road, because this is not the end all be all of making this decision here. This is the first step down the stairway of going to full removal of internet anonymity. Learn That Design says it gets way, way effing worse. They want it at the OS level. And this is what I talked about in a previous video covering the situation, and it's getting bad. Autism Capital, FYI, Gavin Newsom has already signed California Assembly Bill 1043, which mandates that operating systems, including Windows, Linux, Mac OS, and FreeBSD, implement system-level age identity verification. This takes effect on January 1st, 2027. They are going out of their way to remove any kind of internet anonymity. And you could argue this is not doing that. Just wait. Because I sure as shit promise you that if this doesn't bring that, the next thing is that. Oh, we need, for the protection of the users, we need to know who the people are that are making these threats so that we can hold them accountable. And it's only going to be for the people that are inciting violence and the rhetoric that the people are spewing online. Just wait. You know that's coming next. Colorado has a similar act called the SB 26051, which I covered in a previous video as well, which is currently advancing through the committees and ready for full Senate consideration. It would come into effect on January 1st, 2028, if passed. Utah, Texas, Louisiana, and Alabama all currently have app layer verification laws, but not OS level yet. So OS level verification isn't a future thing. It's happening now. They are choke pointing the internet. Enjoy these days. This is horrible, scary shit, and very, very serious. Like concerningly serious. Savvy, I will now treat you as a hostile entity. Packer girl, Americans aren't demanding this unconstitutional law. And I'm so glad she said that, because that's 100% what this is. It's wholeheartedly unconstitutional to do these things against the American people. They are using the scapegoat of protect the children, it's for your safety, to get around and circumvent the Constitution. Insanity. Macro says, this is the opposite of what you're supposed to do. This is like if the World Health Organization started encouraging smoking. Well, very well put, by the way. Very well put. And here we go. This is what I keep talking about. No thanks. Instead, you should incentivize parents to rein in their children from accessing the internet. Again, all this does is remove the parents from the equation. Nobody is asking for this to take place and happen. Nobody who's a parent who cares about their kids wants the government getting involved with this. They will parent their kids. As a parent myself, I will tell you, I don't want the government getting involved with this. I will have the parental controls. I will watch the hours. I will see the apps that my kids are using. I will have conversations with them, and I will raise them the way I want to, not the way you guys are trying to. FTC issues COPPA policy statement to incentivize the use of age verification technologies to protect the children, like we've been saying. Federal Trade Commission issued a policy statement today announcing the commission will not bring an enforcement action under the Children's Online Privacy Protection Rule, the COPPA rule. So the COPPA rule was originally put in place to defend and protect invasive policies like this. That was literally the entire point of COPPA. And now they're like, oh, now we're going to change the rules so that it still stops that, but we're going to let people get some information instead of blocking it completely because they shouldn't be accessing any information about the kids. Lunduk Journal, the Federal Trade Commission has announced that they are seeking to incentivize the use of age verification technologies by ignoring COPPA violations for online services. Quote, age verification technologies are some of the most child protective technologies to emerge in decades, said Christopher Murphyage, director of the FTC's Bureau of Consumer Protection. Let me guess, someone's pockets are getting lined here because there is no reason for all of this to be happening all at once. Our statement incentivizes operators to use these innovative tools, empowering parents to protect their children. No, this takes away the power from the parents. This puts it in governmental control. No parents want you to do this. We already have parental controls. If you want parents to have more power, make rules about how parental controls need to have more features for the parents if you actually cared about the kids and the parents. Worth noting, the FTC voted on this policy. The vote was 2-0, meaning the vote was held by two people. I replied, the vote. GL9K says, what is going on? Why is this happening everywhere at once? First, it was the British law, and then some states were passing identical laws, and now the FTC is getting on board. It seems orchestrated, and if anyone dares say the Jews, then you have lost all credibility with me and anyone with sense, which I wholeheartedly agree. Like this is one of those worldwide, why is the privacy being invaded? Why is that happening? Why did it start with the UK, then the EU, then Australia, then you heard Canada, and then Brazil, and then you heard Mexico, and then a couple states started doing it. And this was all in the span of like a 4-month period. And now we're at the point where the fucking FTC is being like, hey, we're actually going to eat into the COPPA rule and say part of the protections that we had for you, we're going to change just to make sure that we can push through the age verification. Well, I'm like, wait, what the fuck? That was supposed to stop this shit. What are we doing here? Lunduk Journal continues and said, this policy change by the FTC seems incredibly bizarre. Removing COPPA protections means that the FTC is encouraging online services to specifically identify and catalog children. Am I reading this right? You absolutely are. 100%. This decision flies directly in the face of what COPPA is even there for. It makes literally no sense. Julie, Florida woman Barrett says, this is the head-spinning game of whack-a-mole. The FTC issued a statement and a policy today incentivizing every major platform and app to use age verification systems. The new policy says that the FTC will not enforce COPPA against operators who collect personal data only to verify age. In case you had any doubt, this is a huge sign that the entire digital world is moving towards mandatory age verification, equaling digital ID. Miss me with the no, it is for the protection. Not that anyone's even saying that, because I see the replies in my videos. I see the community sentiment. No one across the board, no one's like, well, actually, that's not even happening. Everyone across the board, the videos are like 99.8% like percents with tens of thousands of views, and everyone's like, what the fuck? All right, so that should tell you straight away that this is not something that the people want, and yet it's still getting pushed through. So that makes you ask a lot more questions. Wide Awake Media says, investigative journalist Whitney Webb, one of the main reasons for this coordinated global push to develop digital IDs is because it's deemed essential to Agenda 2030?
There's a coordinated global policy push for digital IDs as the new form of government-issued identification.
The New World Order.
Credentials, and they're essentially all based on your biometric data, which can be your fingerprints, your face, the iris of your eyeball. And the idea is essentially to collect all of that data and have it housed or have it tied directly to your digital ID. So your physical ID will be mapped to the digital ID. Digital IDs are not really a separate project from CBDCs and this new digital financial system. And UN documentation and also documentation from the Bank of International Settlements, they very overtly state that CBDCs and digital IDs are meant to go together. And without digital IDs, the CBDC digital finance system cannot exist.
Oh, so now we're actually getting to what the reason is. So what you're saying is it has nothing to do with protecting the children. Curious.
They have to know who you are. And so they want to have your wallet tied to a digital ID and have that digital ID be mapped to your physical ID through the biometric data collection.
Hey, do you guys remember when Trudeau shut down the bank accounts of the truckers during the protest? I'm sure governments would never do that again to people if they had all your biometric data and had connections to your digital wallets with who you are if you dared act it out of line. No.
One of the main reasons for this coordinated global push to develop digital IDs is because it's deemed essential to the entire Sustainable Development Agenda, which is the UN Sustainable Development Goals, or SDGs, also known as Agenda 2030. And the specific part dealing with digital IDs is within SDG 16, which is about building peaceful and inclusive societies. One of the indicators of SDG 16, 16.9, calls for legal identification for everyone in the world from the time they're born, essentially. One of the main words they use to market this stuff is equity and inclusion. Mm-hmm. The idea that we need to include everybody in these new systems.
Wait a second. So are we peeling the layers of the onion back of what DEI's real purpose was all along? It wasn't diversity is our strength. It was make everyone feel like they're all one people so that we can have a one world government. I mean, I feel like Alex Jones over here with the tinfoil hat, but is it really that wild to say?
But if you don't participate in digital ID, you won't have a legally recognized identity. You won't have rights. You won't be able to access services without it. Wow. So it's being framed as promoting inclusion, but the system itself is inherently exclusionary and has been used to track and surveil people, to link people to, essentially all their activities, what they say online in some of the countries that have rolled this out, and has been used to facilitate human rights abuses. So it's not exactly as inclusive as they like to claim. It's inclusive in the sense that we want everyone equally included in our new system that we're creating. Our new control system, yes. Fundamentally. What happened with the vaccine passport was to...
Oh, which, by the way, let's talk about COVID for a quick second here. It almost feels like the COVID thing was a test for how can we use an organization to push an agenda across the entire globe and see how it works as a test case before we move forward with other avenues to fully control. Is it really that crazy?
Link your identity to your travel, to the freedom of movement. And if you didn't have one, you were excluded from entering certain places. So that, again, highlights the idea of how these digital IDs are inherently exclusionary, because if you don't have one, then you're excluded from, moving where other people that have those privileges. And if you don't abide by these various stipulations, you're excluded from participating in those.
Yeah, and then they can also control the market, raise prices at their whim, and everyone has to suffer the consequences of it. Consumer Choice Center says the UK, France, Australia, the EU, and even the US are considering mandatory age verification for social media. This means uploading IDs, scanning faces, and tying accounts to real-world identity. Is this protection or complete overreach?
Governments in the UK, France, Australia, the EU, and even the United States.
All at the same time. Weird. You would think that these separate countries would have their own separate rules. Weird how they're getting influenced so quickly.
want to require that all the social media platforms ID every single user. They call it child safety. We call it a Trojan horse for digital censorship. Want to use Instagram, Snapchat, TikTok? Platforms will be required.
And the people that can't like do deeper thinking than just surface level, they may hear these things and be fine with it because they don't think 3 steps down the road of what this actually means for the future or future generations or generations of generations beyond us. What not to mention what happens 2 years from now or 4 years from now. What about 20 years from now? And what's the world going to look like at that point? Like, yikes. And we see right now the coordinated effort happening, how fast it can work together against you.
To verify your age, no matter your age, which means scanning your face, your passport, and your government ID.
Thanks.
It's not just some minor inconvenience, it's an internet ID.
Yep.
It ends anonymity online for everyone, and not just kids. Because to age gate the kids, they'll have to confirm your age. And that'll degrade the experience for everyone while putting your sensitive info at risk for hackers and leakers. And all of this just to deprive teenagers of the ability to use technology online.
Which at the end of the day, I was a teenager when the internet was coming online. There was crazy shit on the internet back then. You guys remember Heaven's Gate? You remember all the shit that was happening going on there? I was like a kid looking stuff up and researching it, thinking it was crazy. Like, why are we so afraid of kids learning things about the world? It blows my mind. They use it like kids are retarded and kids aren't able to learn anything on their own. This is how you experience the world. What these world governments want to do, lock everything behind the wall for the kids growing up, and then just let them out and be like, fucking figure it out when you turn 18. Go out there and see what the world's like now. Like, good luck to you. Holy shit. We'll leave it at this. CB Reviews. Breaking news. Apple has announced forced global age verification through ID to comply with the new child safety laws, thanks to governments like the UK, EU, and Australia, and even the United States. This news comes out after Discord is trying to do the same thing. And isn't it curious when I covered the Discord situation the other day, how Discord was like, oh, not naming anything else. They're just like, oh, we're doing this for your safety. When in reality, we knew behind the scenes, there was so much more going on. And now we're seeing the truth. They lied to you. They lied to everyone. All of these companies are lying to you across the board. I don't even know how you even fight back against this. This is a coordinated effort from people in positions of power pushing an agenda against you. And you just have to sit there and deal with it, or else everything just goes away. You can't even use the internet anymore. You think I'm being crazy? Just wait a year. Let me know how it's like. I'll leave it there.